Assalamualaikum warahmatullahi wabarakatuh. Hi, I'm Saiful Ridho, and the girl between me is my student, Zakia. I'm here because I love to give presentation. The title of my presentation today is Improving Students' Critical Thinking Skill through POA, Predict, Observe, Explain, Learning Syntax with the JAS, Jelajah Alam Sekitar approach. Critical thinking is one of the higher order thinking skills in the form of a person's ability to analyze idea using logical reasoning. This skill need to be developed through the educational process. Indonesian students in several research results, including the result of PISA testing were reported to below. One of the efforts to improve it is through the learning process. Therefore, the teacher must be good at defining the right model. In POL learning, students are given the freedom to predict, observe, analyze, and draw their own conclusions so that students' science process skill will also look more optimal. This model has advantage, including stimulating students to be more creative in thinking. However, this model also has weakness such as problem presented during the learning that take place. To cover this weakness, it is necessary to have new innovation that can support the learning process. Model combined with the JAS approach was chosen. The novelty of this research is to incorporate the JAS approach into the POA learning syntax during the learning process, with the hope of bringing students closer to the exploration phase, which is to form character and conservation values that can be explored and developed from student potential, such as being conscientious, curious, critical, creative, religious, disciplined, honest, and caring for the environment. Therefore, it is necessary to further study the effectiveness of the POL learning model with the JAS approach. This research aims to analyze the effectiveness of a model on improving student critical thinking skills. The effectiveness in question is to make students active in learning, to be clear, easier to understand, fun, and of course, can improve student critical thinking skills. This research was conducted at SMA Negeri 2 Ungaran. This type of research is a quasi-experimental design with non-equivalent control group design. The sample in the study was taken by classified random sampling from class 11 IPA, selected as the experimental and control class are IPA 6 and IPA 5. Data on critical thinking skill were collected using valid tests in accordance with expert decision. The pretest and post-test data were analyzed using a sensitivity index, individual and classical completeness test, and the average difference test. The criteria for effectiveness of this of the study are as follows. First, the result of the sensitivity index in the experimental class made minimum 30%. Second, students in experimental group can achieve individual KKM score more than 75 and classical learning completeness which is more than 85 of the examinee. And third, there is a significant difference in average score of students' critical thinking skills between the experimental class and the control class. Result and discussion. First result, the calculation of instructional sensitivity in the experimental class and control class have reached minimum 30%, which means that the item can be said to be good or sensitive. This shows that the item sensitivity in experimental class is better than the control class. Here they are. If the question item are seen from the calculation of critical thinking indicators, the data is obtained in table. This shows that sensitivity results seen from the indicator to the critical thinking in the experimental class are more effective than the control class. The second one, the result of completeness test of individual and classical learning achievement can be seen in this slide. The average learning achievement in the class control and experimental achieve more than 75 or completely individually. But you can see the experimental class had met the classical learning completeness criteria because more than 85% students can improve it. And the last one, the result of the t-value is significant. So the conclusion are the POA learning model with the just approach is effective in improving student critical thinking skills. It is expected to be a combination of an effective learning model so that students become active in learning, clearer, easier to understand and learn. Well, thank you very much, everyone. And Assalamualaikum warahmatullahi wabarakatuh.